When you visit Arizona, time is measured in moments, not minutes. Like the moment you see the Grand Canyon for the first time. Visit a new state of mind. Learn more at hereyouareaz.com.
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Hi there, and welcome to the Comedy Album Book Club, the podcast where we listen to a comedy album and then we talk about it. I'm your producer, Matt Ardill, a comedy nerd and improv student, and in addition to the album discussion, I, along with our host, actor, and comedy enthusiast, Jason DeLine, also interview members of the comedy community. Today's interview is part of our Juno series. The Juno Awards are Canada's answers to the Grammys, an annual recognition of the musical arts that started in 1970. 2019 is the second year to present the award for Best Comedy Album after a 33-year hiatus for the category. Today, I talked to SiriusXM top comic and Juno nominee comedian Chanty Marostica about their album, The Chanty Show. Thanks, Chanty. Welcome to the Comedy Album Book Club. Thanks for taking some time to chat with us. So we last sat down and spoke right before Just for Laughs and last year. And you've had a pretty exciting year since then. You won the SiriusXM top comic. You've been doing a lot of touring. So first of all, congratulations.
Well, thank you so much.
And so, how has it been? How did you do anything special for yourself with any of that prize money?
I still have it all. I haven't. I haven't done. I bought myself a cool jacket, but it kind of makes me look like a cop, so that makes me upset. Hindsight, right? But I bought myself a jacket, and I saw this pair of shoes the day before I won Top Comic, and I was like, if I ever won Top Comic, I'd buy myself those shoes. But they were only $100, and I could have afforded them before I won Top Comic. I just don't treat myself that much. So I went and bought myself my nice show shoes that have a C on them, and then I bought myself a jacket. I don't know. My dad's really nuts about money, so he kind of checks in all the time to make sure I haven't blown it all. So I just am like so scared. Anytime I spend money, I'm like, oh my god, don't ruin it, don't fuck this up. I'm sure I'll take myself to the keg one day. I don't know. yeah. And a nice keg dinner. That's a good, nice treat to reward yourself. I grew up so poor, so I'm just like, I don't know what treating yourself looks like.
It's probably a much more sound way of handling that money than I would have had. I'd have spent it on something totally frivolous within a week. So you're definitely one up on the game there.
I think if I start that's not going to end, and then I'll just be right back to being really poor, and I'll be like, oh that was nice.
Excellent. So you've been doing a lot of touring since then. You've played a lot of neat new places. You went to Australia for Just for Laughs. How has that been? How's the touring been since you won Top Comic?
The week before I won Top Comic, I came out as trans. I was a trans dude. So it's been really a new experience because I've toured for my entire career, and now I'm trans. and I'm pretty loud about it. And I'm writing my material to reflect that so that other trans people can see themselves in a positive light. And it's been really great at some moments, but whenever I travel, I'm just a woman. Not just a woman. Women are amazing. I didn't mean to say that. Yeah. I am a woman again. My name is not changed on any of my identification yet because it's just that's a complicated thing. And I present very female, I guess, to people, except when I'm in a woman's washroom. People look really scared when I'm in there. It's a complicated time. I'm pre-transition, and I still sound and kind of look, I guess, like a woman to people. So when I talk about being trans, like I've just had some very negative experiences. I just have to, when I travel, I just have to accept that for that block of time, I'm a woman again. And I was very unhappy living my life as a signed female at birth. So, and I've had some, I don't know, I've heard, I guess transitioning really has made me a bit of a tougher person because I like starting the transition process because I had somebody in Moncton, a comic in Moncton, talk about trans people in a light that I've heard a million times before, in a light where it's a joke, and it's but he had talked about trans children, and I was like, no, you don't do that. And I've heard those jokes a million times before. I've been brought up to someone saying Caitlyn Jenner and that being the joke, like no joke, just saying a trans person's name and the audience giving an applause break because trans people are it's just, I don't know, I feel like society takes its turn on punishing groups of people until they're not allowed to anymore. And they laughed. So I had come out to this audience as trans, and then the next comic came up, and he didn't see my set. It wouldn't have mattered if he did. And he did about 15 minutes of just like vile hate speech against trans people. And I left him a note that said, fuck you, I'm trans. I said, hey, Matt, I'm trans. You're a fucking idiot. And I signed it Chanty. And then he posted the note. I posted the note without his name, and then he posted the note. And it just it blew up, and I got dragged a lot by some alt-writers. So it's been really interesting, but I also had an outpouring of people from my community and from my queer community and my comedy community supporting me and saying that they're not going to stand for it anymore. The jokes that they hear about, whether it be about women or people of color or ableist jokes, just people listen to them and audiences laugh because audiences do what other people are doing because it's a group of people, right? So it was just nice it's bittersweet to be on the edge of something because trans rights are being taken away and murder rates are really still so high. But it's I'm in the middle of a change of that, but it just feels really weird and unsafe. Sorry, I just went off on that.
No, I mean that's it's important to hear because I mean you are really at the forward edge of changing the dialogue in comedy around this. Yeah, and it's important to hear from somebody experiencing.
Yeah, there's a lot of trans comics right now, but they're new because they didn't feel safe in comedy. But I've been in comedy for so long, I just happened to come out, and people can't really turn their back on me because I was already established, you know. Yeah. And it's just interesting to see how people react to me and how much my life has changed. It's very interesting.
Well, I can imagine that because I mean it's all in being very public as well because you know you came out during that entire performance and then set and everything and it's all been part of the conversation around your album. So no, I mean definitely hearing this perspective is really important in my mind. And I saw some of the blowback online from that post and the way people sort of circle the wagons when they feel threatened is just so bananas to me. Like the guy video response was so disingenuous. It was like one joke, and it's like that's so devoid of the context of everything else that
and it was about 15 minutes of jokes, and he picked the one that was like the most of a looked like a joke because the rest were kind of like, this is why I'd cut my balls off, and I was like, that's not what the medical means of transitioning is. Like it's a lifesaver for people, and but I've heard the material before, like I said, but it just struck a chord because he was so disingenuous with his, he just, I guess there's this sanction of white men who feel like if other people have a space or have a voice, that theirs is less, but they don't lose anything. Yeah. It's just not for them. You know, like if you hate trans people, you're not going to like trans people's material, but just don't pick on them. That's not comedy. That's a hate crime. Yeah.
It's this weird. They feel threatened because there's new voices, and it's like that only makes that only improves the world of comedy because there's more people sharing their humor, and it helps everybody understand one another that much better. And it's just I've never understood how
you can like really easily stay in your lane now. You don't have to just it's just so devoid of any talent or what words I'm looking for, or just to take from other people's stories and to punch down on minorities is like, do you have any new ideas? Where are you at?
There's no additional, they're adding nothing to the conversation with these sort of like hacky punching down jokes.
Yeah, and I feel bad for them that they're so upset that they're not allowed to make fun of disabled people anymore. They're not allowed to make fun of black people. They're not allowed to, make fun of gay people anymore. Like, oh, poor them. That's so upsetting.
Yeah.
They're not.
That they're going to have to work for their jokes.
It's so upsetting that you can't just take jokes that have lived forever and change the wording around. Like, it's just really funny that they're like, but this is comedy. Like, I guess so. That all those jokes have whiskers that are older than you, buddy.
Yeah. So, speaking of comedy, what was your first introduction to comedy? So where did you what was your the album or the show? What that really sparked your love of comedy?
I guess watching Gilda Radner or Robin Williams and Whoopi do the thing. What was that, Live Aid? No, it was something else. It was Robin Williams, Billy Crystal, and Whoopi Goldberg would team up, and my dad and I would watch that.
I remember watching that back in the 80s too.
Yeah, it was some sort of something for the Cure that they would get together on every year, and just watching Robin Williams and Whoopi Goldberg on stage, because they're just they're not just comedians, they're performers. They just are light. When you watch them, when they enter a room, you're happy. And I just wanted, I didn't want to ever be a comedian. I just wanted to enter a room and be someone's reason that they smile, just like the way Robin Williams would and Gilda Radner, the way they made me feel. I wanted to make that happen for other people. So, and then my first set was at a coffee shop in Winnipeg. My friend put together a cabaret show of all the different people that worked at this dinner theater we worked at, and I did stand up, and I was hooked.
Wow. Once you got that mic, the bug was in you for good?
Yeah, everybody was so happy because they knew that I wanted to do it since I was a kid, and I was just reading off a paper, premises off a paper. It was so bad. But everybody was like, you crushed! That was amazing! They were just so excited to see me finally doing what I wanted to be doing. And I was like, I'm fucking amazing, even though I was just reading off a paper.
You got the papers. Everybody's reading off their phones, so everybody still does it. The technology has changed.
But also, there wasn't any there's only rumors. There wasn't. It was so long ago too, and I lived in such a smaller place that there was no how do you do this. I just walked on stage and was like, this. I have this paper. I know 3 things.
Now, I know you've been helping a lot of comedians find spaces to perform and find outlets. So have you found, since when you started, that it's that the comedy world, at least in Toronto, is more ready to open up for new voices and for new performers?
Oh yeah, I had to make them ready though. I moved here and I was like, oh my God, there's women here. Oh my God, there's gay people here. I was always the only one in Manitoba. And then I moved and I realized that my voice was important and I just didn't have to be one of the boys to just fit in. an awakening. And then nobody said that like an LGBTQ comedy show could work because they all like went under after a couple months. Me and Adrian Fish got together, and now our LGBTQ monthly comedy showcase has been running for 3 years, the longest running one ever. And and then I saw the success of that, and then and there was queer comics coming out to me, like coming out of the woodwork and being like, can I take you for a coffee to just like, I want to know where it's safe to go. I want to know where I can feel safe, and what suggestions, like what do I talk about? Just like scared to exist in a space. And I was like, holy shit, this is me. But this is like 15 years later, and it shouldn't be like this. And I didn't want them to experience what I experienced in comedy, because my experience in comedy it's not good. If you're like an older assigned female at birth, like if you're an older woman or trans person in comedy, you know that the road was very long and very hard and full of men that, I don't know, so many women quit. And the few that stick around just have a lot of stories. If you ever ask them, we all have stories. And I didn't want that for them. I wanted them to have a new experience and to never have to even know what a boys club is, to know what that is, to be told that you don't matter and you shouldn't talk about your own experiences. So I created the up-and-comers to just get them going and have them to show them, like, they get to perform to a sold-out crowd at the Rivoli. They get, like, loot bags with a bunch of crap in it. They get their own green room. They just, like, this is what comedy should look like, and never, ever do anything that doesn't look like this. And then they've all created, all my up-and-comers, I call them my gabies, have created their own spaces, and now they have a whole queer comedy scene, and they never have to answer to anybody but each other, and they're such a supportive family. Like, they reach out to each other, and they're there on their good days, they're there on their bad days, and they just created this little family for themselves. And I don't know. And then I started the QAPD open mic as the first all queer open mic ever, and they do that, and they love it. And then they're starting a show. I'm helping them produce their own huge show at Comedy Bar, and awesome. That's coming up in March. And they just don't ever have to experience what I experienced. And sometimes I see them being like a little bit entitled, because they've never had to, like, you know, just like experience the boys club vibe. And I'm like, hey. Yeah. you don't know what it's like. But they never have to see that, so I'm just happy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those mixed blessings where it's like, you know, they didn't have to go through that, so they don't realize, oh, there's some really shitty stuff that happened. But it's like it also feels good that they didn't have to see that really shitty stuff, and you were able to provide that.
Like, so sometimes when they're, you know, sometimes I'll be like, I've created monsters, but I like these monsters better than scared queer kids, you know. And they're all just doing so well. I got them their own JFL showcase. Hopefully that will continue past this year, but it just, people told me that it wouldn't work out, but I just trusted in my community that they would come, and that queer people wanted to hear their own voices, and they do, and they did. There's always, I don't know, I just learned in this industry that if anybody tells you that you can't, then that means that you should.
Damn straight. You know, it just means they haven't tried it themselves and they don't know.
And they're scared. Yeah. Because people don't like change and people don't like new things, but we wouldn't, I don't know, if I didn't try, then we wouldn't have a queer scene and all these kids wouldn't have a voice. So I'm glad I did it.
Yes, that's awesome. Now, you worked with a lot of different comedians. Are there any comedians that you're a fan of? Any of these, anybody who's like really captured your attention that you've met during your tours, or are coming up through the different shows around Toronto that you've helped with?
Like locally, who I love?
Locally or globally, like who's really, you know, caught your attention right now? I worked with Kate Berlant at Odd Block Comedy Festival in Winnipeg, and I was totally just swept off my feet. She's like a Gilda Radner. She's like a Robin Williams. She's like the whole deal. Mm-hmm. And Aisha Brown is one of the most, I would say, underrated, but she's not. She gets the attention that she needs and deserves. But she's just the sweetest, most humble lightning as a person on stage. I don't know. She's the most amazing person. And I think that, like, somebody that I'd really like to
obviously I would like, if I got to ever meet Kristen Schaal or Tiffany Haddish, I would just die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Those are two, like, I would think that I'd be like, oh, it's really good to meet you, fellow comedian, but I would just lose my shit and ask them really weird questions about how different celebrities smell.
Yeah.
I don't know why it comes up for me. I always want to know who smells weird.
Well, smell is one of those really powerful, triggers for memory and stuff. So it's like,
yeah, I'm Italian, so I'm like,
like,
but what does Kevin Hart smell like? Does he smell homophobic? Can you smell that?
Now, your album, The Chanty Show, did great on iTunes. You've been nominated for a Juno, which is why we're chatting today. What was the process of recording that like? Like, how did you pull together the material, and what did you have to do to prepare for it?
I knew that I wanted to do an album for a really long time. Like 8 years ago, I did one in Winnipeg, but it just didn't work out. I tried to record a video, but it was really bad. We won't talk about it. I don't know why I brought it up. I always tell my gabies, when you're showcasing, pick your favorite jokes, because you have to make yourself laugh. You have to be happy on stage. But all my jokes are my favorite. So I'm just really full of myself, I guess, because I was like, I'll do 90 minutes at 4 different shows. I booked 2 shows in Winnipeg because I just wanted the opportunity, because there's such good crowds, that if one of those was better, to choose that. And then I did 2 shows at the Comedy Bar Main Space, which is my favorite stage in Canada. And I just did every joke, and then I kind of tweaked it as I went, because I had 4 runs at it. Because I'm kind of a loose cannon. If you give me more time, then I might just improvise 30 minutes of it, and that's not good for an album. Want to get my jokes out there. But yeah. My brother actually fell asleep during the album recording that I picked. And I really had trouble listening to my albums, because it was so triggering for me, because it was so upsetting. He fell asleep 5 times during my recording. I had to keep stopping and being like, Adam, wake up. And he was and he was mad at me, because he was like, well, why would you have an album recording at 9 p.m.? I'm like, that's a super reasonable time.
It's not 11 o'clock at night or midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that late. He's a barista. Chill out, Adam. Anyway, I started to listen to the 11 p.m. and I just was like, the 9 p.m. felt so good. So I just had to edit out the times when I talked to my brother about him sleeping, which was really because we made up about it, and it was just really funny. Then it wasn't as hurtful, because we had made up, and I just had to edit those. And then when I listened to what I cut out, I really loved it. And then Jeremy Mesro, who edited and recorded my album, did a brilliant job making it seamless, so you didn't know that my brother fell asleep 70 times. And then I don't know, I've dropped compilation albums for Career and Present Danger before, but I really didn't know what I was doing. But I didn't have anybody with me or album rep. I just did it and it worked out. I don't know. Like I said, I just do everything myself, because I don't know how to do it otherwise. I'm just like, no, I'll do it. And then I had an album drop. There was so much material about me transitioning too that I did in that 90 minutes, but I didn't. I wanted this album to be Chanty Marostica did the last 13 years of comedy. Chanty Marostica got me where I am, and I wanted to honor her and put out the material that I might not be able to do once I have a mustache, And I know that comes at a weird time when I'm gonna, I'm a man, but I'm talking about being a lesbian on the album, but it's I needed to put it out there. I don't have any, I haven't recorded anything for television as Chanty Marostica, and she did all the work to get me to where I am today. And so it was just kind of your work here is done, kind of a thank you to the woman that fought through boys club and through hell to get me to where I am today. So that's how I decided on my material. Decided to save all the stuff about transitioning for my next album, so that it would be a standalone one as well.
Excellent. You're working on that now. When do you think, give it a year or two? When are you ready to go out of the gate already on that next album?
I'm almost ready to go with it. I go to Vancouver tomorrow for JFL Northwest, and I'm trying to just punch up my JFL 42 hours so that it's ready for, I want to get it perfect so that I can make it a Netflix special and then maybe drop an album outside of that. I don't know how that works if you're not allowed to do that. I'd have to ask my agent, but I'm ready to record an album, but I'd rather do something live and on a streaming network. So I'm trying to build myself up for that.
Awesome. Well, I guess like Vancouver and Australia, these are big steps up from Ottawa.
Yeah, Ottawa. But Ottawa still has my heart. They were so good to me. It was my first Yucks gig in Ottawa, and I was so scared. And Kira, the vice president, was there, and she was like, "Good luck, kiddo." And Jeff Paul was like, "Hopefully you don't get like hate crimes," because he likes to make jokes about that. And then I crushed, and they all did terribly. And I was like, "Fucking losers! Ottawa loves this lesbian." Former lesbian Chanty Marostica.
Former lesbian. Now, so you got a nomination for the Juno Awards, and like this is they only brought it back last year after 33 years. So I mean, it's such a great thing in the way that it feels like, you know, Canada's maybe recognizing its comedians again, that, you know, you got the hard work that you're all putting in and you're with your recordings and stuff. Like, what does it mean to you to be nominated for like the only the 6th Juno album for comedy out there?
Oh, I didn't know those facts. I knew the break. So I thought it was like 25 years. It's huge. It's so huge. And it's such I don't know, there's only it's been like Rebecca Kohler was nominated last year, and I guess Dave Marhej. There's not a lot of, what am I trying to say? There's not it was usually just all white guys. So it feels really huge to represent queer people and to represent the trans community. To be nominated for a Juno is just so huge. I used to joke about that as a kid. Like, when I get my Juno, you know, just like because you like tongue in cheek make fun of Canada because everybody makes fun of Canada. But it just feels, it's like a Canadian Grammy, and it feels really cool to be nominated. It feels like, I don't know, it feels really neat. But it also, SiriusXM is trying really hard to make Canadian comics seen and visible, because we keep losing them, everybody, to the States, and they're trying to make like a star system here. So they put so much money into Top Comic, and so much money, they present these awards. It's all because of SiriusXM. I don't work for them. I'm just very happy that they're around, or else I wouldn't be able to stick around Canada as long as I have. And they brought the awards back. So they're putting in the work to make Canadian artists seen and heard and get us the proper royalties that we deserve. So they're hands down, I thank SiriusXM for getting me a Juno nom. And hopefully I go home with it, because that would make my mom very happy.
That would be awesome. So
she's like, who are you taking every day? I'm like, not you. Get out of here.
What will happen if you meet Justin Bieber there?
Oh my God, what?
If you meet Justin Bieber
at the Junos, what are you talking about? I just had a
He has in the past. He has in the past.
I don't want to go. I'm so scared now. I'd have a Bieber off with him.
Yeah.
And may the Bieber win. You're like, I'm not that fat. And I'd be like, I'm not that stupid. Gross, get out of here.
Now, you're going to Vancouver. Do you have anything else coming up in the next little while that people can see you at?
Ooh. Do I ever? Yeah, I'm going to be at, I'm taking quite a big break off comedy, because I'm getting my top surgery on March 29th. So that's the most important thing in my life right now. So I'll be, people can't see me for a bit. And then I have a couple festivals I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but I'll be at the last in July doing my first taping at JFL, and I get to have my own show, my own hour-long special there for a couple days. And then I'll be at JFL 42 again, and hopefully filling up some time touring between there. I got some huge opportunities come into my lap, but transitioning is the most important thing in my life right now. My career and my life kind of started to butt heads this year, but my surgery and transitioning is a life or death thing. So I just have to do it, and then I can continue on, and hopefully people will still have me after I take a little bit of time off. Hopefully everybody is still ready for me to take over the world.
You're on the march. I don't think there's going to be anything that can stop you from doing that.
I just got rid of my boobs and all my power's gone. What? My power was there? That's a terrible place for a trans person to keep the power.
All right, Chanty. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today and for joining us again on the Comedy Album Book Club. And looking forward to seeing your next show at JFL 42. And good luck at Juno's.
Thanks so much, Matt. I love talking about myself. You're the best.
Our pleasure.
I'll talk to you later.
My thanks to Chanty Marostica. Make sure you subscribe to the Comedy Album Book Club to listen to our other interviews and episodes. We have interviews coming up with Dave Merheji, Deborah Diagiovanni, Mae Scaloni, and Pat Thornton over the next few days. Plus, we just released our last episode discussing the Saturday Night Live album with comedy legend Robin Duke, as well as Brandon Hackett of the Sketchersons, and Carrie Donaldson and Ali Entwistle of Brunch, live from the Toronto Sketch Comedy Festival, which is still going on, so grab your tickets for some great shows while you can. Our next album, we discuss Beth Stelling's Simply the Beth with Ray Smith and Ryan Hughes. Until then, I'm not Jason DeLine, but Matt Ardill. Thanks for listening to the Comedy Album Book Club.
Looks like you need a vacation. Enter the 5-Hour Energy Where Will the Tide Take You sweepstakes. You could win a $10,000 dream beach vacation. Imagine jet setting off to a tropical paradise, having fun in the sun, or diving at a gorgeous reef. It's up to you. No purchase necessary. Go to 5HETide.com for official rules and to enter. That's 5HETide.com. Enter today. Ends June 30th, 2024.
It's time for another season of The Palmetto Porch, an original podcast from Discover South Carolina. I'm Devin Whitmire. Join me as I get to the heart of what makes South Carolina such a great place to visit by speaking to the locals who make it so special. Premiering December 5th, find The Palmetto Porch wherever you get your podcasts. And for more information about our show, visit scpalmettoporch.com.